Hello, everyone. I am Mr. D'Annunzio, your health and PE teacher. I am teaching you today your fourth health lesson of the year. Remember, you only have 8. This is number 4. Our fourth health lesson today will be for the week of January 25th through January 29th, and the lesson will be on conflicts. All right. So what I have for you today, I'm going to post something in Google Classroom. You'll be working with conflicts. I have a Google slide presentation, and follow the Google slide presentation, you'll be filling out a Google form regarding the actual activity. This is all going to be posted in the stream section of Google Classroom. You can respond in that section. A lot of kids have been responding via email or through office hours. I have my office hours each week. Most office hours will vary depending on the week, but I will have them posted. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Conflicts, I have a Google slide presentation, which I'm going to go over now. If you would like to watch the presentation or just view the presentation on your own, you could do that. If you'd like to see me or listen to me, you could do that as well. I'm going straight off the presentation. I might talk a little bit more in depth, but I'll try to keep it at a reasonable time because I know a lot of you have a lot of other schoolwork to do. All right. So conflicts. What is a conflict? Does anybody know? I know. A conflict is an argument or possible disagreement or a fight or a battle. These are just examples of what a conflict is or what a conflict could be. All right. What doesn't work during a conflict? Yelling doesn't work. Screaming doesn't work. Refusing to change or compromise doesn't work. So you need to go into, this meeting with the person that you're upset with or that you have an argument with, wanting to change. Because if you go in there not wanting to change, it's never going to work out. So you got to go into it wanting to change, and refusing to work out a conflict is no one's going to win it. So you really need to be positive, and your anticipation is to go into that meeting wanting to change and wanting to get things better. Name calling, hitting, walking out, of course, are all not good things as well. What does work? Negotiation, working together, finding some middle ground. I always say there's a middle ground in every problem. I might want to go out to eat at a pizza place. Somebody else might want to go out to eat at a burger place. And maybe there's a place somewhere in the middle where we can actually get burgers and pizza, where both people end up working out. Works out for both people. All right, so that sort of analogy, even though it was goofy, can work out for a lot of things. So you always have to look at middle ground. So I have there in this Google slide, you want to look at both grounds, the middle grounds. All right, so let's move on down. And again, through this Google slide, I'm not going to go over every single slide because there's 20 slides, but I'm going to go over about half of them. All right, when is a conflict possible or positive? When you are able to resolve internal and interpersonal conflicts using a win-win problem-solving method. And win-win means both sides get something out of it. All right, so you want to have that happen because when you feel like you get something out of it, your say works, you feel happy. When the other person's telling you how it is and their way is the better way, you're not always the happiest person ever. So you kind of want to, again, find that middle ground where both people are happy in the end. So that win-win solution is very important, all right? And there can be compromise in that possible solution, all right? It can be that one person changes their mind after listening to the other person's perspective. A good example of that would be Mission Impossible. I know that's another goofy example, but we're in the gym, and that game's, if you remember, you're given equipment to get from one side of the gym to the other without touching the ground. So somebody has to come up with an idea. The rest of your team follows that idea. If the idea doesn't work, you change your idea and you try something new. But again, you have to start off with some idea, and it might not be yours, but it might not be the idea that you use in the end. You might have to go use that idea and change it several times, your idea, in order to accomplish your goal. And the same thing could be said with this. Preparation, all right? You want to have people that are involved in the possible conflict with the people that are having the conflict. All right, you want to have good listening skills. Have someone make sure you're listening to the person regarding their conflict, looking them in the eyes, keeping your ears wide open. Looking at the ground and not paying attention is not being a good listener, and you're not going to resolve anything that way. You never want to slip back and fall back into an old pattern. And what I mean by that is when you're talking to somebody regarding a possible conflict or some concerns that you might have, you always want to use I messages. I messages where you say, I feel very upset when you're talking when I'm teaching. Or not you, but I get very upset to hear that you are not listening when I'm talking. The reason I say this is because when you say I comes from the heart. All right, when you say you, it's directed right at somebody. And the person that hears you could definitely get very upset very fast and then go right back at you and say, well, you make me feel. And you're really not going to get anywhere when you're saying how you, the other person, makes you feel. But when you say it from your heart, you say, I get upset or I am concerned, it definitely means a lot more. So I messages, and that's a big thing, are very important to keep in mind and always use that. Never fall back and go down a bumpy road and go back in time and start using you messages, because there's no such thing here. Okay, it's only I messages. Think of all possible solutions that you can use, and that's kind of like what I said about Mission Impossible. All right. Will it work? Will the problem work? Does it meet all your needs? All right. And expect some delays. Expect things to not always work. All right. Sometimes things work right away. Sometimes they don't. You want to make sure you're patient and you know that things might take time. All right. If the solution does not work, you might need to alter your plans, just like Mission Impossible. All right. The big thing is you want to remember to use I messages and active learning. Eyes on the person, ears open, and being a good listener. All right. Active learning. Communication is very important. All right. Both people should know what the other one wants. All right. And by having that meeting where you're both talking about how you feel, hopefully that will resolve the problem. Listen, if you have a sibling, a brother and sister, you know everything's not peaches and cream. Sometimes you have your arguments, your disagreements. All right. These are ways to resolve those problems. And if regarding your parents, I'm sure you don't agree on every single thing regarding your parents. I know my kids don't agree with every single thing that I say and do. All right. But we need to keep our communication line open. So if they feel that they need to come to me and talk to me, I'm here for them. And hopefully they're there for me as well. Okay. In the Google slide presentation, you'll see that I have a lot of different road signs. All right. One road sign says slow down. Slow down. Remember, it takes time to settle a conflict. Go slow at first because conflicts usually encounter some rough roads in the beginning. Keep using your I-Way map to reach safer roads. That's that I messages. That always helps out in the end. You'll notice some detours will happen along the way. Again, things aren't always peaches and creams with any conflict that you have. You do the best that you can to resolve your conflict. If you need to be, you change course. You choose a different method. And hopefully things will work out in the end. And things will work out better. And that seems like it's finite. I did skip some slides. Excuse me. Did skip some slides. But I went over quite a bit of them. I did the best that I could. Again, this video is going to be approximately 12 minutes long. It's longer than what I want. I wanted to keep it to 10. But hopefully you have a better understanding what a conflict is and conflict resolution. Now, real fast at the very end, again, you have a Google form that you need to fill out. Google form will go over the Google slide presentation and these last few things that I'm going over right now. How many of you have experienced a conflict? One with a parent, your sibling, a cousin, a friend at school, a teacher at school. How many of you were able to work through your conflict in a productive manner, using good iMessages, using strong communication skills? If you were able to use those strong communication skills, were you able to actually work through the conflict? Or were you not able to work through the conflict? Did it work out in your favor? Did you get what you wanted? Were you able to work and come up with a mutual agreement so both sides were happy? These are all good questions that I bring up to you because this is what we went over today. And I hope you answered yes to a lot of those questions. A lot of them. You might have not answered yes to all of them. Maybe you answered yes to most of them. Maybe there's one that you didn't. iMessages is something I really want you to think about because iMessages are very important when coming up with an agreement and when discussing your possible conflict. I hope you learned something today regarding a conflict. I hope you learned something regarding conflict resolution. Again, please fill out your Google form. All these lessons will be in the Google Stream. I want you to find them easy. I'm going to do the best that I can to make them easier for you. They're only Google Forms, all right? But the Google form will follow what we did in our lesson, and hopefully you'll be able to go along with it very easily. All right. I hope everyone's doing great and having a great day, and I hope I get to see you soon. Bye, everybody.